Tamil parties are stepping up the pressure on the UPA government at the centre to vote against Sri Lanka at the United Nations on the contentious issue of war crimes. Remember, Headlines Today is the first channel to have accessed the final text of the US resolution tabled in the United Nations on Saturday. The resolution clearly demands an investigation into alleged extrajudicial killings and the breach of international law by Sri Lanka. Well, let me go across to my colleague Priyamvada Punjabakesan, who joins us for more on this story. Priyamvada, we know that TESO met just a couple of days back and aired this Channel 4 documentary, and they had at that time decided that they will make this demand. Tell us what their position is at this point.
Well, this resolution has not completely satisfied the pro-Tamil parties, but it's a very significant resolution compared to the 2012 one because it just says that the US is not satisfied with the LLRC recommendations or the implementation of LLRC, which is a body formed by Sri Lanka itself. It says Navi Pillai report, the OCHR report, which strongly talks about war violations in Sri Lanka, should be considered because there is a line in the press resolution which says the US notes the recommendations by the OCHR. So that's definitely a big blow for Sri Lanka. But there is also another significant point. It talks about combating terrorism. Sri Lanka was trying to combat terrorism, which could probably mean that the war happened in the process of combating terrorism, that is LTTE. So that is probably one point worrying the pro-Tamil group. Otherwise, the resolution does not directly implicate Sri Lanka in any way. It just once again suggests, like last year, it had recommended Sri Lanka to follow the LLRC recommendations, and this year it says follow the OCHR recommendations, which talks about demilitarization of the area where the Tamils are living, and also to try to consider the war violations that Sri Lankan government had done.
Right, Priyamvada, no doubt that the Tamil Nadu parties are building up the pressure on the centre to also support and vote against Lanka, but the Congress has been fairly cautious, has always maintained that it keeps all its options open. At the same time, it's not completely outright said anything to anger its allies. But are Tamil Nadu parties confident of support from the centre on this issue?
Well, at this point of time, it's kind of very ticklish situation for the union government because last time we saw China and Pakistan very smartly voted for Sri Lanka, and that will definitely change the diplomatic ties and the relation that we share with the neighbor. So definitely India doesn't want to lose Sri Lanka. It wants to be in good books of Sri Lanka, but at the same time there is immense pressure from the Tamil parties. I spoke to some of my sources in the DMK. They are saying that if India decides to vote for Sri Lanka, right, then there is no option but to pull out the support that they are giving.
All right, Priyamvada, thanks very much for joining us with the breaking news update.